So as we've seen, one of the most powerful features of Android is to be able to provide alternate resources that the system can use based on the type of device the user has. We've seen that with the drawable directories. We can have 3 directories, one for HDPI screens, low DPI screens, and medium DPI screens. And we can provide resources with the same name, and Android will actually use the appropriate one based on the user's device. So we can do that for more than just drawables. We can actually do it for layouts as well. So let's say we wanted to have a separate layout that happens when the user goes into landscape mode. Well, we can do that. So I've created a blank project called alternatelayouts, and we're here in the main.xml file. And let's just add some things in here. So we'll add a text view, we'll add a button underneath, maybe another text view and another button, and then let's add a image view. Now, if you look in the exercise files in the assets folder, we have some images in here. And I'm just going to use this Lima photo and drag it into my drawable HDPI folder. And we're going to choose copy files. And now let's go into the properties for that image view. And I'm going to set the source equal to that image that we just imported. So I'm going to choose Lima and click OK. So let's say that we're happy with this about how it looks in portrait mode. We can actually preview what it's going to look like in landscape mode. It's not going to look very good. And this isn't 100% accurate preview either. But let's switch back to portrait. Now what we can do is to provide an alternate layout file for landscape. So what we have to do is to create a new directory in our resources folder. So let's right click, and then we're going to create a new folder. And this we call layout-land. And this is something you have to name specifically so that the Android system knows about it. We'll click Finish. Now we need to create another file called main.xml, which will be used when the user goes into landscape mode. So let's create a new Android XML file. I'm going to call it main.xml. And this is going to be of type layout. And we'll click Finish. And now you can see it's automatically showing me the landscape preview. So let's now go ahead and construct this in a different fashion. So we have a root of linear layout, but let's go ahead and nest another linear layout inside of here. So we're just going to drag it like that, and we have our new linear layout here. So now I'm just going to bring in those same elements that we did before. So I'm going to put a text view, we'll put it in there. And you can see this new linear layout inside of here is actually set to horizontal for its orientation. We want to change it to vertical. So let's override the default and set it to a vertical layout. That way we can line things up in a vertical fashion. So now I'm going to grab this button and I'm going to put it underneath. I'm going to grab another text view, put that underneath, and another button. So now what I want to do is I want to bring in that image view that we had before, except now I want to put it over here outside of this nested linear layout. And that way the image can then fill up this remaining space. So what we want to do is to set the source on that image again. So let's change it to Lima. And now you can see how it's going to look. So again, when the user is in landscape mode, they're going to see this alternate layout, which better takes advantage of the screen space. If we change to portrait, they're going to see this other layout, which again is designed for portrait layouts specifically. And we do that by creating this alternate directory called layout-land. So let's run this and take a look on the emulator. By default, the emulator is, of course, in portrait mode. But we'll let this launch up. And here you can see our application in portrait mode. Now, if we want to change the emulator to be in landscape, we can just hit Control F11, and it will actually change the orientation of the emulator. And now you can see when it did that, the system is automatically switched to that alternate layout that's better designed for landscape orientation. So again, just want to highlight the power of this, and it's the way that Android deals with all types of resources. The same thing with values. We can provide values for a bunch of different languages and the system will actually swap them out at runtime based on the capabilities the user has on their device.